On today's The Innerview, we meet Bill and Susan McFarland, who opened a new chapter in their lives after retirement when they picked up the mountain Dulcimer. The mountain Dulcimer is a fretter zither with a relatively short history that can be traced back to the 19th century in the Appalachian Mountains of the United States of America. Prior to retirement, Bill and Susan were educators, teaching engineering and English as a second language respectively. Now they are imparting their love for music through the mountain Dulcimer. They traveled across Korea this past June to introduce this unique instrument to the people. Stay tuned to meet the McFarlands.
Joining us today on The Innerview are Bill and Susan McFarland, who have opened up a new chapter in their lives with the mountain Dulcimer, a musical instrument that is rooted in the Appalachian region of the United States of America. Bill, Susan, welcome to The Innerview. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us. We're very glad to be here.
Great to have you. And Bill, we were blessed with an amazing performance from you on the mountain Dulcimer, which we'll be talking about today. Unfortunately, you guys normally play together, but you weren't able to today because of an accident that you had, Susan.
Yes, I went to Jeju Island to have a little fun, and I've been wanting to walk the beaches and look for some shells, get my feet wet, and they were just very slippery with seaweed, and I fell down and broke my hand. So
that's such a shame.
Yeah.
But we hope you get better very soon.
Thank you very much.
You're up on your feet performing ASAP. So let's get to it. This is your first time in Korea, I believe. What have your impressions been, and how has it been apart from your unfortunate accident, Susan?
We've loved it. We've really never been outside the United States together.
Right.
And so this is our first trip traveling abroad together, and we have been amazed by the beautiful scenery, the mountains, and I've been particularly blessed by the people. And we've met wonderful, generous, fantastic people everywhere we've gone that have really helped me to see Korea, I think, differently than a tourist would see Korea.
That's great to hear. What about you, Bill? How's it been?
Well, first of all, I'm very impressed when we visited the DMZ. And reading about it is not the same.
I'm sure.
I get very emotional for some reason because we visited the train station, Dulcimer, and there is this wonderful, beautiful, well laid out, well-planned train station waiting, hoping for somebody to come. So I didn't like that very well.
We did like that. I mean, it was impressive.
Yeah, it was impressive.
Yeah. It really touched both of our hearts. I think we were both in tears at that point, and it was so unexpected because we knew nothing about Dory Station at all.
Right.
Yeah.
Gosh. Well, it's amazing to hear that, a place like Korea can touch people from so far away. And it's great to hear that you guys have had some time to travel. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your stay here as well. So you're traveling and you're performing across Korea. Why Korea in particular, though?
Korea, because we have some good friends. 30 years we've known them. We met them in Columbia, Missouri, our hometown. And they invited us to come and help spread the news of Dulcimerness.
Right.
I have a few Dulcimer students here from Seoul and in Busan area.
Oh, you do?
That came back after they were in Columbia, and so it's been fun to see them as well. But we really came at the invitation of our good friends, and they have been marvelous hosts for us.
I see. Well, it's great to have you. And the Innerview crew went along to some of your performances in Seoul, so let's check them out.
The McFarlands held a mini concert at the 100th anniversary Memorial Hall of the Norangjin Presbyterian Church in Seoul.
No, it's this one. Like this? I don't think it's not this. It's
Bill and Susan got together with their student Cho Myung-hee for a final rehearsal before the actual performance.
together. Okay, we both made was.
다시 학생이 되어서 처음 달섬으로 배웠을 때 그 설레는 마음을 다시 느낄 수 있는 것 같고 예스 스님을 모시고 같이 연주를 한다는 게 굉장히 설레고 감동적입니다.
We're going to try to introduce the mountain dulcimer to Korea.
We hope people will like it. It's very quiet, so it's not like a guitar, but yet we play many different styles of music on it. So we're excited to show you that.
달시모라는 새로운 악기를 한국에 좀 소개시키고자.
As the concert reached its climax with a fast-tempo folk song, Susan wowed everyone with her technical skills, displaying speed and precision. Together with her student, the ambassadors of the mountain Dulcimer and American folk music wrapped up the delightful concert with an old pop song, Can't Help Falling in Love.
So exciting and exhilarating and just almost nostalgic for me in a way. It's very nice.
Dulcimer songs, because I didn't know about the dulcimer, that it's an American instrument, a traditional American instrument. So it's very interesting, and especially Somewhere Over the Rainbow was very nice to listen to. Because dulcimer also has a very soft sound, you have to listen carefully, so it was very nice for me.
So you actually performed there with one of your students, you saw in the video clip, and you mentioned a couple of your students being in Korea. Is teaching the mountain dulcimer something you do quite regularly?
I love teaching the mountain dulcimer. I have some students in Missouri, and then I just teach anywhere somebody wants to learn a little bit. So we spend 4 months or so in Arkansas, and if somebody buys a new dulcimer and they don't know what to do with it, I generally grab them and sit them down outside our RV and give them a few lessons.
Oh, wow.
It's a lot of fun.
And Bill, do you teach as well?
Well, I don't teach nearly like Susan does. I play a bass dulcimer, which is just an octave lower than the standard dulcimer, but it has to be played differently because it can't be strummed. It doesn't sound well if you strum it because of the relations of the strings. And so I teach some of the old men like me who want to play with their wives but can't keep up how to play the bass dulcimer and how to accompany someone on the bass dulcimer. It's not like a bass guitar. It plays differently.
Right. And how much interest is there in the mountain dulcimer back home?
Well, there are pockets of interest in a lot of places, and it's becoming more popular. But there are still vast numbers of Americans who have never heard of the instrument. So we're always being asked, even at home, what is this?
Right. So back to your performances in Korea then. You've performed around the country, even apart from Seoul. How were your performances received in other parts of the country?
Very warmly. We've been really, really impressed. People have kind of captured the heart of the sweet music. We've had ladies and gentlemen who've said how it calms their spirit, you know, just listening to us play. We've had people say the stress in Korea is so great. We need something just to kind of get rid of that kind of stress. And the music does have that soothing effect.
It does, because when I listened to Bill's performance, it kind of reminded me of just being out in the countryside listening to folk music around a fireplace, something like, or a campfire rather.
Yeah,
So,
very much like that.
yeah. And how has it been for you, Bill?
Well, I noticed in the United States we tell people that you can play many different kinds of music on the mountain dulcimer, and sometimes we demonstrate that. But it was very well demonstrated by 3 young boys after a concert that we did in Hadong.
Right.
And they were 18, 19, and 20. And one of them at least played guitar. But they took our dulcimers, we showed them a few chords, and pretty soon they were playing something that kind of sounded like rock and roll.
Wow.
Yeah, and they must have jammed on those dulcimers for about, half an hour.
Yeah, we couldn't
It
get
was
them
so
to
much fun for us to listen to them, just find music on an unfamiliar instrument so quickly and easily.
And just finding that something in common with people, you know, in a different generation and a different culture too.
Yeah,
That must
it
have
was
been
really,
amazing.
We
really
couldn't
nice.
speak the same language,
Yeah.
but they knew G chord, C chord. Oh yeah, I know how to put those together.
Spoke the same language of music.
They played.
So where's been your favourite place in Korea? Has any place particularly captivated you or caught your attention?
Well, Hadong is beautiful. The mountains and the river going through it is really reminded us a lot of southern Missouri and Arkansas.
Okay.
And another place that I really liked was Jeongju.
Jeongju.
The food was terrific.
Yeah.
The old village was really nice to walk through. And I think those have been a couple of my favorite places so far.
And Bill?
Well, I was going to say Jeongju because it was our first time sleeping in a guest house,
Traditional Hanok.
Korean
Right.
guest house. And I opened the door, and there's no bed in there.
Just the floor.
Just the floor, which I thought at first I could not sleep on. But after 2 weeks of sleeping on the floor, I can sleep on the floor just fine now.
The beds are too soft for you now.
Maybe I'll see when I get home.
Nice. Well, let's talk more about the instrument itself. The mountain dulcimer, sometimes referred to as the Appalachian dulcimer, I believe, and as the name suggests, it originates in Appalachia in the US. But can you tell us more about the instrument, how many strings it has, etc., etc.?
Sure. The dulcimer has 3 or 4 strings.
Okay.
And it has fretboard that goes inside the body of the instrument. So it's in the zither family.
Right.
It was developed by the Appalachian settlers there, most of them from Ireland and Scotland, and they just use native hardwoods to make the instrument. It's a traditional American instrument because there's nothing like that anywhere else in the world.
No,
exactly.
there isn't.
Yeah.
So you mentioned the guitar players being able to kind of get used to it pretty quickly. Is it quite similar to the guitar, would you say?
No, it's not very similar to the guitar. For example, I tried to learn to play the guitar for years and years, and I never was very good. And the 3-string instrument sounds different, is chorded, of course, differently.
Yeah.
It doesn't have all the frets.
Okay.
It's called a diatonic instrument, so that there are certain notes that we don't have, which of course that means there must be some songs that you can't play that might need those notes.
Right.
But there's a vast number of songs you can play, or you can add frets, as my wife has done, to get a few more notes. Or you can just try to be clever and play the music you want to play with, given the notes that you have to play with.
I see.
We like to say to beginners that the frets that are missing represent the bad notes, and so all the bad notes are gone. And so there are only good notes left.
Right.
And you just play anywhere on the fretboard, it's going to sound good.
That's
Unlike a
fascinating.
guitar, or especially a violin, when a beginner begins playing those instruments, it doesn't sound good.
No, it doesn't.
But on a mountain dulcimer, it can sound good the first time.
It's got this very sweet timbre to it, should I say?
Yeah,
A bit different to the guitar. Just, yeah, it really relaxes you.
it
As you
does.
said
Yeah.
earlier. And it's made out of...
Hardwoods,
Okay.
generally walnut, cherry, sycamore, spruce, maple.
maple.
Yeah.
Okay.
And each one has a different sound. The woods change the tone
Oh,
of the
wow.
instrument. So,
see.
so if you want something that's really bright, you might choose a cherry or a maple. And if you wanted something that had richer tones, you might choose a walnut dulcimer.
Wow, that's amazing. That they can make such a difference in the sound.
Great differences.
Okay, and I heard that there are different types of dulcimer as well. So what made you guys pick the mountain dulcimer in particular?
Okay. Well, the other kind of dulcimer is a hammered dulcimer, and it has
Right.
tons of strings. So it makes it a little more complicated to play.
I see.
But the mountain dulcimer with its, just the tone of it and the 3 strings and the ease of playing, for someone who starts an instrument late in life, like we
Right.
did,
I see,
you know,
I see.
it really was a wonderful way to really get into music. Yeah.
So how long did it take you guys to become quite proficient in the instrument? And how long would it take the average person?
Well, there's different levels of proficiency, but you could probably learn a tune in about 5 minutes easily.
Really? Wow.
And then what you do with it after that, you can make it more complicated.
And what's the biggest appeal of the mountain dulcimer for you guys?
Well, the biggest appeal for me is the fact that it's easy to play.
Okay.
Easier than a guitar, for sure. And yet, it can be very complicated as well. So that kind of fits in with where I am, somewhere between simple and complicated.
Okay. Especially when you're arranging too, that must
Yeah.
put a different spin on it.
But just playing it is that way.
Okay.
It's a
Susan?
wonderful challenge. There are very many different styles of music you can play on the dulcimer, and each one has its own ambiance, but its own structure. So as we learn and continue to learn different kinds of music, the challenge of playing the dulcimer is what's appealing to me as well.
Okay. Now, I understand that you two started off in very, very different fields to music. So, Bill, you were a professor of electrical and computer engineering at the
Yes.
University of Missouri. And Susan, you taught English as a second language at a high school. So, how did you come across the mountain dulcimer, and what made you decide to learn it?
That's Bill's story, actually.
Okay.
Well, as I mentioned, I really wanted to play guitar since I was a kid and play folk music like all the other people, and I never could play well. And once we were leaving an amusement park in Missouri, and they were selling little dulcimers on the side as you went out, and I looked and saw only 3 strings and a reasonable price and thought, I bet I can play that. So I bought that and took it home, and my wife took it away from me.
Yeah, that's pretty much the way it happened. We went home with a dulcimer and a book,
Yeah.
and we had never heard dulcimers before. We didn't know people really played them.
Right.
We really didn't know it was a real instrument, I
I
guess.
thought it was a souvenir.
Yeah, it was a souvenir from our vacation.
Yeah.
And once I started playing it, we realized we needed more than one. And so I went and bought one in Kentucky, and then we found Mountain View, Arkansas, and that's where we've bought the rest of our dulcimers.
Wow. So, Bill, you started off this passion
Yes.
between the two of
It's
you.
his fault.
And it's
Yeah.
great that you have a hobby that you can do together.
It is wonderful. Bill's very busy with other things. He's a ham radio operator, and he's in charge of emergency communications with the ham
wow.
radio in our hometown. And I teach English as a second language to parents now,
Right.
to adults rather than high school. So we're busy with our various things, and this is one thing that we can really do together.
Yeah.
And we've really enjoyed that.
That's absolutely great. And what were your family and friends' reaction to you taking up the mountain dulcimer and so passionately after retiring?
That's an interesting question, because our kids don't seem to see it as part of our lives.
Really?
And that's really, I've come to understand that they know us as mom and dad, and they know us the way we were when we were their parents at home.
Yeah.
And so they rarely ask us about the dulcimer. They're not at all interested in it. We foist a CD on them periodically, and they play it somewhat, but it's not part of who we are in their eyes. So it is kind of interesting. And also our friends at church, again, it's not part of who we are in their eyes, and so they don't really associate us greatly with the mountain dulcimer. It's the friends we've made through the dulcimer who seem to appreciate what we do the most, which I think is kind of an interesting, that was an interesting question. I hadn't thought about it before.
Was it the same for your friends?
Well, one of the things that I happened to think of as you were answering that question was, whereas our three boys don't take much respect for our dulcimer playing, our grandchildren, at least 2 or 3 of them, have, and we have given them some dulcimers.
Oh, wow.
And they can play them. And one of the 11-year-old girl, in fact, loves to accompany us to Arkansas.
That's amazing.
In the summertime when we go, when she's out of school, so that she can meet the people and play the dulcimer.
So it's a really kind of family bonding experience for you and your granddaughter as well.
Yes.
That's great. But it is interesting that people don't really associate you with dulcimer playing. I wonder if it is because you both took it up quite late in life.
Right, we were both in our 50s, late 50s, yeah.
Had you both played an instrument before? You mentioned trying to play the guitar. Susan, had you?
No, I had tried to play lots of different instruments in the past. I had sweet potato ocarinas and tin whistles and spoons and a bowed psaltery, and none of them really lasted as a quality instrument for me. They were all odd and strange, but when we found this one, we found something that was beautiful. And it really did relax me and soothe me. When I was teaching and had just gotten the dulcimer, I would come home very tired and exhausted, and I would sit down, and all of my aches and pains would just kind of melt away as I played this wonderful instrument.
Wow. It's not something you get very often.
No.
And it's great that it clicked for both of you.
Yes.
And at the same time as well. But are there any downsides to being together 24/7? You work separately, but you play together, you practice together, presumably you're traveling together here in Korea. Any downsides at all? We won't tell the other.
Actually, no. I love spending time with him.
Aww.
We have this RV at home in the United States, and it's a small little vehicle that we drive around, and we live in it for 4 or 5, maybe even 6 months a year. So we're very close in together as we live for a while, and so we learn to accommodate each other and love each other in spite of anything we might not have liked about somebody.
Oh, that's very sweet.
What else can I
I'm
say?
getting all teary now. And what are the biggest upsides, would you say?
The biggest upside is just doing something together that we both love and seeing other people respond to what we do. I think when other people appreciate our music, that really does give us a little bit of affirmation that what we're doing has value for more than just us. It's a way of us to give back to people who are around us.
It's wonderful to listen to. So you've produced 2 albums so far, which is amazing. And after making your first album, you entered the Mountain Dulcimer Ensemble contest, in which you placed 4th in 2010 and 1st in 2011, which is amazing, considering you hadn't been playing for that long.
For that long.
Right?
It was pretty amazing. The first album we made was really a learning tool. and we made it for family and friends as a gift, and gave most of them away, actually.
Right.
But what we learned from that album was to listen to each other. We had not, we each played our parts, but we really didn't listen to each other.
I see.
And I think that was a great help in our advancing as musicians, so that a couple of years later when we won the ensemble contest, you know, it was with things that we had arranged, and it was with things that we had spent time working on together, and we had listened to each other to really make it a good couple of songs that we played for that contest.
But what prompted you to take it from a hobby to the next level?
Some friends in Mountain View, Arkansas, probably.
Okay.
They encourage us to play, and they're professionals, and they play around the country. And they wanted to help us.
Right.
And so that we just learned that if we try harder, we get better, and if we get better, we enjoy it more and play more.
So you surrounded yourself with the best, and they inspired you.
That's why we
really.
keep going down there at the Mountain View. Yeah.
Okay. So you said you gave most of the first albums away to your friends and family, but your second album, From Me and My Gal, I believe it's called, it was produced for a much wider audience, including some of your fans. And I hear you did most of the arranging yourselves.
I did, yeah.
Could you tell us more about the album?
Well, the songs that we have on there are songs that we've been working on for several years. Somewhere Over the Rainbow is on there.
That's a classic.
The title comes from a song, For Me and My Gal, which is an early 1900s song about going to a wedding, you know, and watching a couple of kids get married.
Yeah.
And we just picked up songs from groups we played with, some fiddle tunes that we played with a Wednesday night group in our hometown, and some that we got from Arkansas, and things that we heard on stage somewhere, and we thought that would sound good on a dulcimer, and so I would arrange it. So various tunes that you probably haven't heard of, but ones that we've just really enjoyed. So I think it's a nice balance of fast and slow, sweet, you know, songs as we've put it together. And we did not know we were coming to Korea when we made this album last fall. And we just brought what we had, and we've enjoyed being able to share it.
But I think there are a few, lots of songs on there which are classics in Korea. So I think we're going to have to take a listen to the album. This is Bill and Susan McFarland's second album, From Me and My Gal. So beautiful, so soothing as well.
Thank you.
I think perfect for these hot summer nights that we're having in Korea right now.
That one was called Waterfall Waltz, and it's actually a Civil War waltz from the St. Louis, Missouri area.
Oh, wow.
And that was one of the earlier pieces that I arranged.
Nice.
Yeah. In fact, I think we played that in a contest.
Wow. Nice. And Susan, it's yourself who does most of the arranging, is that right?
I arrange the melody parts,
Right.
and Bill arranges the bass parts. So there's two different kinds of arranging going on.
Yeah. I love the way the bass rounds the sound out. It's a very full sounding.
Yeah, he's
tune.
really the foundation that the melody's built on, and really important to the whole arrangements.
Indeed. So, what's the biggest focus when it comes to arranging songs for the Mountain Dulcimer?
Well, choosing a song that you have the notes for.
Right, very important.
Because we don't always have the notes, or finding notes that work. I think I try to find things that touch my heart in some way. And if I find a song that touches my heart, then I want to spend the time arranging it. And that time that you spend working out the chords, changing the chords to suit yourself, really is what makes the arrangements your own. So we don't just take a song and use the chords that everybody uses. I play around with them a bit.
Right. And how about yourself, Bill? What do you keep in mind the most when you're arranging?
Well, as my friend Jack says, it's my job to make her sound good. So I have to not overpower, not run away, kind of just be there, as you said, to round out the pretty music on her dulcimer. So
you're like the stoic support.
Yeah, not too hard, not too fast.
Right, right.
He fills in spaces. I might have one rhythm going and he'll have a different rhythm to kind of fill in the holes. Or I'll stop playing at the end of a phrase and he kind of fills in the gaps in between.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
And do you ever face any conflicts or major differences in opinions when you're either practicing or arranging or performing?
Sometimes we do. Not major conflicts. You know, I have an idea in my head of the way I want it to sound, and he has an idea in his head. And so I think what we've learned to do, again, is listen to each other.
Right.
And so when you listen to the person that you're working with and really hear what they have to say, then what comes across later, as you've both listened to each other, is the best of both of you. And I think that's what we've found. And that applies to our marriage as well. You know, any marriage, you know, as you learn to listen to each other.
So would you say playing the Mountain Dulcimer has helped your marriage?
Oh, absolutely.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So any couples having difficulties out there perhaps
take
learn
up the Mountain Dulcimer
together. But firstly, Bill, would you agree with what Susan said?
Oh yeah, we have had learning experiences together, and we don't. One of the things I have said before is we each express our opinion, and then we play the way we think is right with each other. And anyway, we're just making music, so it doesn't matter. You just play music.
Just having fun, making music, and it results in an astounding piece or an astounding album. So is there any particular message that you guys would like to convey with your music? Susan, you said you chose songs that touched you. But is there something you want to say to your audience?
Well, whether you're choosing music or whether you're choosing what you're doing in life, choose those things that are important, important to your well-being, and follow them passionately. You may not have time right now to follow your passions. Maybe you're busy with kids or, you know, jobs, all kinds of things. But there will come a time, as we found as we've retired, there'll come a time when you have a choice to either sit home and do nothing or follow your passions. And this has been a wonderful adventure for us.
So follow your passions and do what you like, what you really enjoy and love. Bill, do you have anything to add to that?
Well, only that we certainly wouldn't be in Korea if it weren't for the Mountain Dulcimer, and there has just been a lot of things in our lives the last 12 years that we would have not enjoyed had it not been that little instrument that came home with us and has taught us a lot and brought us around the world, and we just enjoy sharing that music.
It's amazing how one small action can change your lives in such a way. So what would you say is the biggest change for you guys, apart from the traveling?
The travel's a big one.
Right. Anything else?
Beyond that, I think the friends we've met here in Korea, absolutely, and even in the United States, the friends we've met and made in Arkansas, where we stay 4 months out of the year, people that we've met in Columbia, Missouri, as we've played with them and for them. It's just been wonderful to broaden our horizons instead of staying home and, watching television all day.
What would you say is the biggest change for you, Bill?
Well, focusing.
Okay.
For me to play, I have to really focus and not let my mind wander. And if I let it wander, then I forget what I'm playing.
Right.
And so it's been rewarding for me to realize I can still, at my age, focus and play something.
Okay. Because with all these advances in medicine and technology, human life expectancy is increasing year on year, expected to reach 100 years very soon, which is a good thing in some way, but a lot of people are worried about their retirement now and what they're going to be doing after that. So as people who are enjoying their post-retirement days, could you offer any advice to some people out there?
My father, for instance, lived to be 101.
Wow.
And a half, he always said. And in his late retirement, he was interested in making things out of wood, like pins or little boxes. And they weren't very nice, but he made them himself and he gave them away to people.
Yeah.
So he liked doing that.
And I think the music we do is way we can give away as well.
Yeah. So as dulcimer players then, do you have any short or long-term goals?
I would like to continue to be better, arrange more difficult tunes.
Yeah.
I would like to make a third album, perhaps, and who knows what that's going to be. But we've started making a list of tunes that might be on that third album.
Can you reveal any of them?
No. No, not quite yet.
We'll have to wait in suspense.
You have to wait and see, yeah.
What about for yourself, Bill?
Well, I think my goal is to keep up with my wife. She finds more time to practice, but besides that, she's just better than I am. And so I try to play. It would be a goal of mine to play as well as she does.
Oh, it's very sweet. But it's great to see that you both are kind of learning from each other and really helping and supporting each other to get better. Not just in your playing, but just in life as well. It's great to see.
Thank you.
So last but not least, what are your future goals or dreams?
Get better.
Get better, okay.
Get better. Arrange more music, maybe do another album.
Yeah.
Immediately, we're going to go back to Mountain View, Arkansas, and play dulcimer with our friends when we get home. Beyond that, I don't know. We just kind of live it from one week to the next, I guess.
Take it as it comes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's been so inspiring today, and I've loved listening to your music. Susan, it's such a shame that we didn't get to listen to you today, but I hope you get better very, very soon.
Thank you.
I can't wait for you to get back on your feet and you to play together again. Enjoy the rest of your time in Korea. It's been so wonderful to have you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much
very
for
much.
having us.
Thank you.